With everything that I've had going on, both Nerf-wise, 3D printing, and just life in general, this blaster has been sitting half finished on my bench for almost a year now. So I figured, it's time I get back to this thing and try to get this thing finished up and ready to go. So, an overview, this is a Rapidstrike that is being put inside of a Centurion shell. The Rapidstrike here, you can see the pieces here, the flywheel cage, the pusher. Battery is going to go back here in this area. And the next step, and what I've done is set up the main trigger switch. And I don't want to say rev trigger, and I don't want to say main trigger, because I'm going to build this one off of a single trigger and off of a single switch. And the theory behind this is I'm going to put some really nice high torque motors up here on the flywheels and then pair them up with a pair of insutantos, so a real light flywheel, so I can get a really fast spin up time. And then I'm going to go with a low rate of fire motor here, so that when you pull the trigger, the flywheels will spin up and then the dart will come through pusher. So it's going to be full auto, probably 4 or 5 darts per second. It's not going to have a high rate of fire. I'm going to use a very low kV motor, probably like one of my Kaizen 16180s, and only run on 3S, and that should get me down into that 4 or 5 darts per second range on the rate of fire. And what that'll do is, because it's a low torque, lower speed motor, it'll take it some time to get that pusher coming forward and pushing the dart into the flywheels. It'll give the flywheels a 1/10 of a second or so to get spun up. And I'm actually even thinking about putting motor braking on the whole thing, on the flywheels and the front. So it's wired up as a 2-switch setup with a cycle control switch up here and just a single firing switch. And when you release that, it'll brake the motors. It'll also brake the pusher motor when it comes back into its backstage. So I'm still kind of working through the details of that, but that's kind of the plan at this moment, and hopefully get some bandwidth, get some time, and get this thing finished. I'm closing in on getting this build finished, and I've finally got it wired up. Now, if you've wired a Rapidstrike or you've done any wiring at all and you start looking at this, you're going to start scratching your head and go, wait a minute, what the heck is he doing here? So this is a little different than what you normally see. I was talking about it before. This is actually going to be a one-switch Rapidstrike build, and so everything is coming off here. It's also set up with motor braking on all motors. So your feed coming in here, and this is what really looks weird, that I'm running both positive and negative into the switch. But this is the normally open, the normally closed and the normally open side. So the power's coming in normally open, the ground is coming here to the normally closed, and then the output of that is going to see the blue wire and the red wire are going to both sets of motors. So the red wire is powering the flywheels, the blue wire is powering the pusher mech. So in a minute I'm going to grab a LiPo and bring it over here and kind of show what that looks like. But I want to talk about the motors on this thing too, because normally if you do a normal build in this sort of a manner, your flywheels aren't going to spin up fast enough to handle that first dart, and you're going to have a low velocity on the first dart coming out. So what I'm doing to compensate this is I've got high torque motors up here. These are out of darts Kraken motors in the flywheels. And I've got a very low RPM motor. It's a Kaizen 16180. It's a motor that I've used a long time ago that I had some laying around, but they're a much lower kV rating than something like even a Rhino. They're effectively, you can run them as flywheels on 4S, but they're kind of slow as flywheels on 4S. So what that does, the combination of that does, is they're also a lower torque motor, so it takes a little bit of time for this to get the pusher extended out, and that time is used by the high torque motors up here front. So effectively you pull the trigger, you have a little bit of a delay waiting for that to come through, and we're looking at probably a 4 to 5 DPS. It's slow. It's not a real high speed build as far as throwing darts out that way. So let me take a pause here for a second, go grab a LiPo, and then I'll show you what I mean going on. Alright, so I got a Turnigy Nanotech, pretty high-end LiPo dropping in here. And so we'll take a look at this. I'll fire this up. give you a volume warning. This might get a little bit loud. Spin up the motors, and then you can see the pusher mech going through here. So you see the speed at which that pusher mech is going. And again, because it's a one switch, there's no automatic retraction. You need a 3 switch setup for that. But you can see the speed. That pusher is going slow, and those flywheels are coming up real snappy. You know, and if I get a clip in here, and here we'll get that back in here, and grab a dart, you can kind of see how this is going to fire through. So here I've got just loaded up a waffle head. We'll drop it in here. I don't have the other side on, but I can set the mag well in where it goes, fire the thing, and you can see that pusher mech comes out, and the flywheels are already up and revved and spinning before the dart hits them. So, one other thing I wanted to talk about here is this is an Eclipse Gen 2 cage. So it's got the full envelopment, and I thought that would be a good fit for what we're trying to do here. And the dart I really want to use on this one is this modified dart that I talked about earlier with the worker heads on it. Trying to make, this is meant to be almost like a sniper rifle, and we'll see what that. So I'm really kind of tuning it for that type of a tip going through the Gen 2 key. We'll see how it all works when I get the whole thing done. So anyways, this is progress being made on a blaster that I hadn't touched for almost a year. Thanks for watching.